Maya Chen walked across the university campus with her head down, books clutched tightly against her chest. The autumn leaves crunched under her worn sneakers as she hurried toward the library. At 19 years old, she was a quiet student who preferred to blend into the background. Her black hair was always pulled back in a simple ponytail, and she wore loose, comfortable clothes that never drew attention. What her fellow students didn't know was that Maya had spent the last 15 years of her life training at a Shaolin temple in China. Her grandmother had sent her there when she was just 4 years old, after her parents died in a car accident. The monks had raised her, teaching her not just martial arts, but discipline, respect, and inner peace. She had only returned to America 2 years ago to honor her grandmother's wish that she get a proper education. Maya kept her past secret because she wanted a normal college experience. She wanted to make friends, study hard, and maybe even fall in love someday. The last thing she wanted was to be known as the girl who knows kung fu. So she hid her incredible abilities behind a shy smile and quiet demeanor. That Tuesday morning started like any other. Maya was heading to her early morning literature class when she heard shouting from behind the science building. Her trained ears immediately picked up the sounds of distress. Against her better judgment, she decided to investigate. Behind the building, she found a group of students gathered in a circle. In the center, a tall, muscular young man named Derek Williams was towering over a smaller freshman girl named Keisha. Derek was the campus bully everyone whispered about, but no one dared to confront. He was the son of a wealthy businessman and played on the football team. His father's donations to the university seemed to make him untouchable. "You think you belong here?" Derek sneered at Keisha, who was backed against the brick wall. "This isn't some charity school. Maybe you should go back where you came from." The other students stood frozen, too scared to intervene. Maya watched as Derek grabbed Keisha's backpack and dumped all her books onto the ground. The young girl's chemistry notes scattered in the wind, and her laptop hit the concrete with a sickening crack. "Please stop," Keisha whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I haven't done anything to you." Derek laughed cruelly. "You exist. That's enough." He raised his hand as if to strike her. Maya felt her blood boil. Every lesson the monks had taught her about controlling anger and finding peaceful solutions flew out of her mind. She couldn't stand by and watch this happen. But she also knew that if she revealed her true abilities, her quiet college life would be over. "Hey!" Maya called out, stepping forward. "Leave her alone." Derek turned around, surprised that someone had actually spoken up. When he saw Maya, his expression changed to one of amusement. She was barely 5 feet 4 inches tall and looked like she couldn't hurt a fly. "Well, well," Derek said, letting go of Keisha for the moment. "Looks like the quiet little mouse has found her voice. What are you going to do about it, sweetheart?" Maya's heart was pounding, but she kept her voice steady. "I'm asking you nicely to stop bothering her and walk away." The crowd of students murmured in surprise. No one had ever stood up to Derek before. Some pulled out their phones, sensing that something big was about to happen. Derek took a step toward Maya, his face twisted with anger. "You know what? I don't like your tone. Maybe I need to teach both of you a lesson about respect." Maya could see the fury building in his eyes. She had hoped he would back down when confronted, but she had misjudged him. Derek was the type of person who saw kindness as weakness and couldn't stand being challenged in front of an audience. "Last chance," Maya said quietly. "Just walk away." Derek's friends started cheering him on. "Come on, Derek! Show these girls who's boss!" Derek cracked his knuckles and stepped closer to Maya. "I'm going to enjoy this." Maya closed her eyes for just a moment, centering herself the way the monks had taught her. She could hear Master Chen's voice in her memory. "Violence should always be the last resort, but when you must protect the innocent, strike with precision and purpose." When Maya opened her eyes, Derek was shocked by what he saw there. Gone was the timid, scared girl. In her place stood someone with the calm confidence of a warrior, but he was too arrogant to recognize the danger. Derek swung his fist toward Maya's face, putting all his weight behind the punch. He expected her to cower or maybe try to duck. What he didn't expect was for her to move like liquid lightning. Maya sidestepped the punch so smoothly that Derek stumbled forward, thrown off balance by his own momentum. Before he could recover, Maya grabbed his wrist and used his own force against him. In one fluid motion, she twisted his arm and swept his legs, sending him crashing to the ground. The crowd gasped in shock. Derek lay on the concrete, stunned and confused about what had just happened. It had taken Maya less than 3 seconds to put him on the ground. "What the hell?" Derek shouted as he scrambled to his feet. His face was red with embarrassment and rage. "You got lucky, that's all." Maya said nothing. She simply stood in a relaxed but ready position, watching Derek's every movement. Her breathing was calm and controlled, while Derek was already panting with anger and exertion. Derek charged at her again, this time trying to tackle her to the ground. Maya waited until the last possible moment, then stepped aside and used his momentum to send him flying past her. Derek crashed into a nearby trash can, spilling garbage everywhere. The students watching couldn't believe their eyes. This quiet girl was making Derek look like a complete amateur. Some started recording with their phones, knowing this was going to be the talk of the campus. Derek got up more slowly this time, garbage clinging to his clothes. His pride was wounded even more than his body. He had never been humiliated like this, especially not by someone he considered beneath him. "You think you're so smart?" Derek snarled. "I'm going to destroy you for this. Do you have any idea who my father is? Who I am?" Maya finally spoke, her voice calm and clear. "I know exactly who you are. You're a bully who picks on people smaller than you because it makes you feel powerful. But you're not powerful. You're just scared." Derek's face went purple with rage. "I'll show you scared." He reached into his backpack and pulled out a baseball bat he kept there for protection. The crowd of students immediately stepped back, sensing that things were about to escalate dangerously. Maya saw the bat and knew she could no longer hold back. Derek had crossed a line, and now someone could get seriously hurt if she didn't stop him. She thought about Keisha, still cowering against the wall, and about all the other students Derek had probably terrorized over the years. "Put the bat down," Maya said firmly. "You don't want to do this." Derek laughed maniacally. "Oh, but I really do." He raised the bat above his head, ready to bring it down on Maya with all his strength. In that moment, Maya made a decision that would change her life forever. She couldn't let Derek hurt anyone else, even if it meant revealing who she really was. The shy college girl disappeared completely, replaced by the Shaolin warrior she had trained to become. As Derek brought the bat down, Maya moved with speed and precision that seemed almost superhuman to the watching students. She ducked under the swing, stepped inside Derek's reach, and struck 3 pressure points on his arm in rapid succession. Derek's hand went numb instantly, and the bat clattered harmlessly to the ground. Before Derek could react, Maya grabbed him by the collar and lifted him completely off his feet. The crowd watched in amazement as this small girl held the much larger bully in the air with apparent ease. "This ends now," Maya said, her voice carrying an authority that made everyone present take notice. "You will never bully anyone on this campus again. Do you understand me?" Derek, dangling helplessly in Maya's grip, could only nod frantically. For the first time in his life, he was truly afraid. He could see in Maya's eyes that she was holding back tremendous power, and he had no idea how much more she was capable of. Maya set Derek down gently but firmly. "Apologize to Keisha, now." Derek looked over at the freshman girl, who was staring in shock at what she had just witnessed. I'm sorry," he mumbled. "Louder," Maya commanded. "I'm sorry!" Derek shouted, his voice cracking with fear and humiliation. Maya turned to address the crowd of students, many of whom were still recording. What you saw here today doesn't leave this group. Derek learned his lesson, and that's the end of it. Anyone who has a problem with that can discuss it with me personally. The threat in her voice was unmistakable, and the students quickly nodded their agreement. They had all seen what Maya was capable of, and none of them wanted to be on the receiving end of her attention. Derek's friends helped him to his feet and quickly escorted him away from the scene. As they left, Maya could hear Derek mumbling to them about getting revenge, but she wasn't worried. She had taken his measure, and she knew he wouldn't be brave enough to confront her again directly. Maya walked over to Keisha and helped her gather up her scattered belongings. The laptop was badly damaged, but her notes could be salvaged. "Thank you," Keisha whispered, still in shock. "I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't been here." Maya smiled gently, and for a moment she was just a kind college student again. "Everyone deserves to feel safe at school. Are you hurt?" Keisha shook her head. "Just scared." "Who are you? I mean, how did you do that?" Maya hesitated for a moment. She could feel the eyes of the other students on her, waiting for her answer. Her quiet college life was over. But maybe that wasn't such a bad thing. Maybe it was time to stop hiding who she really was. "My name is Maya Chen," she said simply, "and I think we should talk." Word spread across campus faster than wildfire. By lunchtime, everyone had heard some version of what happened behind the science building. The stories grew more incredible with each telling. Some said Maya had thrown Derek 50 feet through the air. Others claimed she had broken the baseball bat with her bare hands. The truth was impressive enough, but college students loved to embellish a good story. Maya sat in the library trying to focus on her homework, but she could feel eyes on her from every direction. Students whispered as they passed her table, and some even tried to take pictures when they thought she wasn't looking. This was exactly what she had hoped to avoid. Her phone buzzed with a text from Keisha. "Can we meet? I really need to talk to you about what happened." Maya sighed and packed up her books. She had agreed to explain things to Keisha, and she was a woman of her word. They met at a quiet coffee shop off campus, away from the curious stares and whispered conversations. Keisha was already waiting when Maya arrived, nervously stirring a cup of hot chocolate. She looked up with grateful but confused eyes as Maya sat down across from her. "I've been thinking about what happened all day," Keisha began. "I keep trying to understand how you did what you did. Derek is huge, and he's supposed to be this tough football player, but you made him look like a child." Maya ordered a simple green tea and considered her words carefully. "What I'm about to tell you might sound hard to believe, but I promise it's the truth. When I was 4 years old, my parents died in an accident. My grandmother sent me to live with monks at a Shaolin temple in China." Keisha's eyes widened. "Like actual kung fu monks?" "They prefer to call it martial arts, but yes. I spent 15 years there, training every day from sunrise to sunset. The monks taught me how to fight, but more importantly, they taught me discipline and control. Fighting was always supposed to be the last resort." "But why didn't you tell anyone? I mean, that's incredible." Maya smiled sadly. "Because I wanted to be normal. I wanted to make friends and go to parties and worry about exams like every other college student. I didn't want to be known as the girl who knows kung fu. I thought if I could just keep it secret, I could have a regular college experience." Keisha reached across the table and touched Maya's hand. "You saved me today. Derek was going to hurt me, and nobody else was brave enough to help. I don't care if you can break boards with your bare hands or meditate while hanging upside down." "You're a hero in my book." Their conversation was interrupted by a commotion outside the coffee shop. Through the window, they could see Derek and several of his football teammates gathered on the sidewalk. Derek was pointing at the coffee shop and talking animatedly to his friends. "Oh no," Keisha whispered. "He followed us here." Maya felt her jaw tighten. She had hoped Derek would be smart enough to leave things alone, but apparently his pride was more important than his common sense. She watched as Derek's friend Marcus, who was even bigger than Derek, nodded and started walking toward the coffee shop entrance. "Stay here," Maya told Keisha firmly. "Don't get involved, no matter what happens." Maya walked outside to meet Derek and his friends. There were 6 of them total, all members of the football team, all significantly larger than Maya. Other customers in the coffee shop pressed their faces to the windows, and some pedestrians stopped to watch what was clearly going to be a confrontation. "Well, if it isn't the little martial arts princess," Derek sneered. His face still bore bruises from their earlier encounter, and his arm was in a sling. "Did you really think this was over?" Maya remained calm, assessing the situation. She noticed that Derek was staying safely behind his friends, letting them do the dirty work. It was typical coward behavior, but it also made the situation more dangerous. These boys were angry and looking for a fight. "Derek, you need to think about what you're doing," Maya said clearly. "This isn't going to end well for any of you." Marcus stepped forward, cracking his knuckles menacingly. "You got lucky this morning, but there's 6 of us now. We're going to teach you not to mess with our boy Derek." Maya could see that Marcus was the unofficial leader of the group. He was about 6 feet 5 inches tall and probably weighed over 250 pounds. His friends spread out around her, trying to surround her and cut off any escape routes. "I don't want to hurt anyone," Maya said, her voice carrying across the sidewalk. "But I will defend myself if I have to." Derek laughed from behind his human shields. "You hear that, guys? She's going to defend herself against all of us. I think our little princess has been watching too many movies." Maya centered herself and took a deep breath. Master Chen had always taught her that the mind was the most important weapon in any fight. She needed to stay calm and think strategically. 6 opponents were too many to face head-on, but she had advantages they didn't know about. Marcus threw the first punch, a wild haymaker that would have knocked out most people. Maya ducked under it easily and struck him in the solar plexus, a precise blow that left him gasping for air and doubled over in pain. Before the other boys could react, she had already moved on to her next opponent. The second boy tried to grab her from behind, but Maya dropped low and swept his legs, sending him crashing into a parked car. The car alarm immediately started blaring, adding to the chaos of the scene. The third and fourth boys attacked together, thinking they could overwhelm her with numbers. Maya used their coordination against them, dodging at the last second so they collided with each other instead of her. Both boys went down in a tangled heap of arms and legs. The 5th boy was smarter than his friends. He had watched Maya's techniques and tried to adapt. He approached more cautiously, keeping his guard up and throwing careful, measured punches. Maya respected his intelligence, but his technique was still no match for 15 years of Shaolin training. Maya waited for him to commit to an attack, then used his momentum to throw him with a perfect judo-style toss. He landed hard on the concrete, but rolled with the fall, showing he had some athletic ability even if he lacked martial arts training. The 6th boy, seeing all his friends defeated in a matter of minutes, decided he wanted no part of this fight. He backed away slowly, hands raised in surrender. "I'm out, man. This is crazy." Maya stood in the middle of the sidewalk, surrounded by groaning football players, but completely uninjured herself. She wasn't even breathing hard. Derek stared at her in shock, realizing that his plan for revenge had backfired spectacularly. "How is this possible?" Derek whispered. "They're all twice your size." Maya walked slowly toward Derek, and he instinctively backed away from her. "Size doesn't matter when you don't know how to fight properly. Your friends are athletes, but they're not warriors. There's a difference." A police car pulled up to the curb, its lights flashing. Someone had called the authorities when the fight started. Two officers got out and surveyed the scene with confusion. They saw 6 large football players on the ground in various states of pain and one small Asian girl standing calmly in the middle of it all. "What happened here?" the older officer asked. Derek immediately started talking. "Officer, this girl attacked us. She's some kind of martial arts freak. Look what she did to my friends." The officer looked skeptical. "You're telling me this young lady single-handedly took down 6 football players?" "It's true," Derek insisted. "She's dangerous. You need to arrest her." The officer turned to Maya. "Is this accurate, miss? Did you assault these young men?" Maya spoke carefully, knowing her words would be important. "I was having coffee with a friend when these men surrounded me and threatened me. I defended myself when they attacked me first. There are witnesses who can confirm that." Indeed, several people had seen the entire confrontation from the coffee shop and from the street. They nodded in agreement with Maya's version of events. The officer also noticed that Maya showed no signs of being in a fight, while Derek's friends were clearly injured. The older officer had been on the force for 20 years and had a good sense for reading people. He looked at Derek's guilty expression and then at Maya's calm demeanor and made his decision. "Son," he said to Derek, "this doesn't look like you're the victim here. It looks like you and your friends tried to intimidate this young lady and it didn't go according to plan. I suggest you gather up your teammates and get out of here before I decide to charge you with attempted assault." Derek started to protest, but the officer cut him off. "I said get moving. Now!" Derek's friends slowly picked themselves up off the sidewalk, groaning and nursing their injuries. Marcus was still having trouble breathing, and the boy who had hit the car was rubbing his back painfully. They limped away without another word, too embarrassed and hurt to continue the confrontation. Derek lingered for a moment, staring at Maya with a mixture of fear and hatred. "This isn't over," he said quietly. Maya met his gaze steadily. "Yes, it is. If you're smart, you'll accept that and move on with your life." After Derek and his friends left, the police officers took Maya's statement and contact information. They seemed impressed by her calm and cooperative attitude, especially compared to Derek's aggressive behavior. "You handle yourself well," the older officer told her as he closed his notebook. "But be careful. Boys like that don't like being shown up, especially in public. They might try to cause trouble for you in other ways." Maya thanked the officers and went back into the coffee shop to find Keisha. Her friend was sitting at their table, staring out the window in amazement. "I can't believe what I just saw," Keisha said as Maya sat down. "You took down 6 football players like it was nothing. How are you even real?" Maya laughed, despite herself. "I'm very real, and very tired of fighting today." "Will you teach me?" Keisha asked suddenly. "I mean, not to fight 6 guys at once, but just basic self-defense? After what happened with Derek this morning, I realized how helpless I felt. I never want to feel that way again." Maya considered the request carefully. Teaching martial arts was a serious responsibility, and she wasn't sure she was ready for that kind of commitment. But she could see the determination in Keisha's eyes, and she remembered how scared the younger girl had been that morning. "Self-defense isn't just about learning how to punch and kick," Maya explained. "It's about awareness, confidence, and knowing when to fight and when to run. It's a big commitment." "I understand," Keisha said earnestly. "I want to learn everything you can teach me." Maya smiled at her new friend's enthusiasm. "All right, we'll start tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. in the campus gym. Wear comfortable clothes and be ready to work hard." As they left the coffee shop together, Maya realized that her quiet college life was definitely over, but maybe that wasn't such a bad thing. Maybe it was time to stop hiding who she was and start using her abilities to help people. After all, wasn't that what the monks had really trained her for? Word of the second fight spread even faster than the first. By evening, Maya's exploits had become legendary around campus. Students approached her with a mixture of awe and nervousness, unsure whether to be afraid of her or ask for her autograph. Maya found herself in an unusual position. She had never wanted fame or attention, but now she had both whether she liked it or not. The question was what she was going to do with it. She had a feeling her college experience was about to become much more interesting than she had ever planned. 3 weeks had passed since the coffee shop incident, and campus life had settled into a new rhythm. Maya found herself at the center of an unexpected transformation. Students who had once walked the halls in fear now felt safer knowing she was around. Derek and his friends kept a low profile, clearly reluctant to cause any more trouble. Maya had started teaching a self-defense class in the campus gym every morning at 6 a.m. What began with just Keisha had grown to include 15 regular students, both male and female. She taught them basic awareness, simple defensive techniques, and most importantly, the confidence to stand up for themselves. Remember, Maya told her students as they practiced basic blocks, the goal is never to hurt someone. The goal is to get away safely and seek help. Fighting should always be your last option. Her students hung on every word. Among them was Jennifer, a shy art major who had been harassed by her ex-boyfriend. Marcus, not Derek's friend, but a different Marcus, a computer science student who had been picked on for his small size. And Sarah, a freshman who had heard about the classes and wanted to learn to protect herself. The university administration had initially been nervous about Maya's growing reputation and the self-defense classes. However, when they saw the positive impact she was having on student confidence and campus safety, they officially sanctioned her classes and even offered to pay her a small stipend as a student instructor. Maya was walking across campus after her morning class when she noticed something unusual. Derek was sitting alone on a bench outside the student union, and he looked terrible. His clothes were wrinkled, his hair was messy, and he seemed to be staring at nothing in particular. Against her better judgment, Maya decided to approach him. As she got closer, she could see that Derek had a black eye and what looked like bruises on his neck. "Derek," she said carefully, "are you all right?" Derek looked up in surprise, then immediately tensed up as if expecting another fight. When he realized Maya wasn't attacking him, he seemed to deflate. "Why do you care?" he asked bitterly. "Shouldn't you be celebrating? You destroyed my reputation, my social life, everything." Maya sat down on the other end of the bench, maintaining a safe distance. "I never wanted to destroy anything. I just wanted you to stop bullying people." Derek laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Well, congratulations. You got your wish. No one's afraid of me anymore. In fact, now I'm the one getting picked on." Maya studied his injuries more closely. "Who did this to you? Does it matter? Turns out when people aren't afraid of you anymore, they remember all the times you made their lives miserable. I've had 3 different guys jump me in the last 2 weeks. Yesterday, some freshman I used to mess with threw a drink in my face in front of everyone." Maya felt an unexpected pang of sympathy. She had never intended for Derek to become a victim himself. "I'm sorry this is happening to you." Derek stared at her in disbelief. "You're sorry? After what I did to you and that girl Keisha? After I tried to have my friends beat you up?" "Violence doesn't solve anything," Maya said simply. "I learned that from my teachers. They taught me that even our enemies deserve compassion." Derek was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was softer than Maya had ever heard it. "I don't understand you at all. You could have really hurt me that first day. You could have broken my arm or worse. But you held back. Why?" Maya considered her answer carefully. "Because that's not who I want to be. My masters taught me that true strength comes from knowing when not to use your power, not from showing everyone how tough you are." "I was such an idiot," Derek said, putting his head in his hands. "I thought being bigger and stronger than everyone else made me important. I thought if people were afraid of me, that meant they respected me. But it wasn't respect, was it? It was just fear." "Fear never lasts," Maya agreed. Real respect has to be earned through your actions and how you treat other people. Derek looked at her with genuine curiosity. How did you get so wise? I mean, you're the same age as me, but you talk like you've lived 10 lifetimes. Maya smiled slightly. The monks who raised me had a lot of wisdom to share. They taught me that our worst enemies can become our greatest teachers if we're willing to learn from them. What do you mean? Fighting, you taught me that I couldn't hide from who I really am forever. Trying to be someone I'm not was making me miserable. You forced me to accept myself and use my abilities to help people. In a way, I should thank you. Derek shook his head in amazement. You're thanking me for being a bully? I'm thanking you for helping me realize what I'm supposed to do with my life. They sat in comfortable silence for a few minutes, watching students walk by. Many of them recognized Maya and waved or nodded respectfully. A few noticed Derek and gave him dirty looks, but Maya's presence seemed to discourage anyone from confronting him. Maya, Derek said finally, I know I don't deserve to ask you for anything, but I need help. I don't know how to be a different person. All my life I've solved problems with intimidation and violence, but now that doesn't work anymore and I don't know what to do. Maya turned to face him fully. What kind of help are you looking for? I don't know. Maybe you could teach me some of what your monks taught you. Not the fighting stuff, but the other things. The wisdom stuff. I want to be better, but I don't know how. Maya was quiet for a long moment, considering Derek's request. Every instinct told her to be suspicious of his motives. This could be some kind of trick or manipulation. But when she looked into his eyes, she saw genuine desperation and a desire to change. If I agree to help you, Maya said slowly, it won't be easy. Changing who you are takes time and hard work. You'll have to face some uncomfortable truths about yourself, and you'll have to make amends to the people you've hurt. I understand, Derek said quickly. I'll do whatever it takes. And you'll have to start by apologizing to Keisha properly. Not just a quick, sorry, because I forced you to, but a real apology where you take responsibility for what you did. Derek nodded. I can do that. I want to do that. Maya made her decision. All right, meet me at the campus meditation garden tomorrow at 7 p.m. We'll start with the basics of self-reflection and mindfulness. Derek's face lit up with hope for the first time in weeks. Really? You'll actually help me? Everyone deserves a chance to change, Maya said. But Derek, this is your only chance with me. If you mess this up or try to manipulate the situation, I'll walk away and never look back. I won't mess it up, Derek promised. I swear. The next evening, Maya was surprised to find Derek already waiting in the meditation garden when she arrived. He had cleaned himself up, wearing simple jeans and a t-shirt instead of his usual expensive designer clothes. I wasn't sure you'd come, Derek admitted as Maya approached. I keep my promises, Maya said. She sat cross-legged on the grass and gestured for Derek to do the same. We're going to start with basic meditation. It's the foundation of everything else. For the next hour, Maya guided Derek through simple breathing exercises and mindfulness techniques. He struggled at first, fidgeting and complaining that his mind was racing. But gradually, he began to understand what Maya was teaching him. The goal isn't to empty your mind, Maya explained. It's to observe your thoughts without judgment and learn to control your reactions to them. Over the following weeks, Derek proved to be a surprisingly dedicated student. He showed up every evening without fail, eager to learn whatever Maya was willing to teach him. She introduced him to concepts of compassion, self-discipline, and taking responsibility for one's actions. The transformation wasn't immediate or dramatic, but it was real. Derek began reaching out to people he had bullied in the past, offering genuine apologies and asking what he could do to make amends. Some people forgave him quickly, while others needed more time. A few told him they never wanted to see him again, and Derek accepted their responses with grace. He also started volunteering at a local community center, helping with after-school programs for underprivileged kids. Maya had suggested the volunteer work as a way for Derek to understand what it felt like to protect and help people instead of intimidating them. "I never realized how good it could feel to help someone," Derek told Maya one evening after meditation. "This little kid I've been tutoring finally understood fractions today, and he was so excited. It was better than any touchdown I've ever scored." Maya smiled at his enthusiasm. "That's the real source of strength and confidence, not making people afraid of you, but knowing you've made a positive difference in the world." 3 months after their first conversation in the meditation garden, Maya was surprised by a knock on her dorm room door. She opened it to find Keisha standing there with a big smile on her face. "You'll never guess what just happened," Keisha said excitedly. "What?" "Derek Williams just asked me if he could buy me a new laptop to replace the one he broke. And not just any laptop, but the exact model I needed for my chemistry program. He said he's been saving up money from his part-time job at the community center." Maya was impressed but not entirely surprised. Derek's progress had been steady and genuine. "What did you tell him?" "I said yes, but only if he would also make a donation to the campus anti-bullying program in the same amount." He agreed immediately. "How do you feel about that?" Maya asked. Keisha considered the question seriously. 6 months ago, I would have been too scared to even ask for something like that. But your self-defense classes taught me more than just how to block a punch. They taught me to value myself and stand up for what I believe in." Maya felt a warm glow of pride. This was exactly what she had hoped to accomplish when she started teaching. "I'm proud of you, Keisha. I'm proud of you, too. You didn't just stop a bully, Maya. You transformed him into someone better. That takes a special kind of strength." As Maya reflected on the events of the past few months, she realized that her life had changed in ways she never could have imagined. She had found her purpose at the university, not by hiding her abilities, but by using them to empower others. Her self-defense classes had grown to include over 50 regular students. The campus administration had asked her to help develop an official anti-bullying program. Several students had overcome their fears and stood up to various forms of harassment, creating a culture where intimidation was no longer tolerated. Most surprisingly, Derek had become one of her most dedicated supporters. He often helped with the self-defense classes, not by teaching physical techniques, but by sharing his story and explaining to new students what it felt like to be on both sides of bullying. "I spent years thinking that strength meant making other people feel small," Derek told a group of new students. "But real strength is about lifting other people up and protecting those who can't protect themselves. Maya taught me that, and it changed my life." Maya watched Derek speak and marveled at how much he had changed. The angry, violent boy she had first encountered was gone, replaced by someone who genuinely cared about helping others. It reminded her of something Master Chen used to say: "The greatest victory is not defeating your enemy, but transforming them into a friend." As her second year at the university began, Maya was no longer trying to hide who she was. She had learned to balance her martial arts heritage with her desire for a normal college experience. She still studied hard and went to parties with friends, but she also continued teaching and helping students feel safer on campus. One evening, as she led her advanced self-defense class through a complex series of movements, Maya caught sight of herself in the mirror that lined one wall of the gym. For the first time since arriving at the university, she saw herself clearly. She wasn't trying to be someone else anymore. She was exactly who she was meant to be, a bridge between the ancient wisdom of the Shaolin monks and the modern world of college life. After class, Derek approached her with a thoughtful expression. "Maya, I've been thinking about what I want to do after graduation." "What's that?" "I want to become a counselor or social worker. Maybe work with kids who are struggling with anger issues like I was." I think I could help them because I understand what they're going through. Maya smiled at her former enemy-turned-friend. I think you'd be excellent at that, Derek. As students filed out of the gym, chatting excitedly about what they had learned, Maya felt a deep sense of satisfaction. She had found her place in the world, and it was exactly where she belonged. The shy girl who had tried to hide her abilities was gone, replaced by a confident young woman who understood that true strength comes not from what you can destroy, but from what you can build and protect. The campus bully who had once terrorized students was now one of her closest allies in creating a safer, more compassionate environment for everyone. It was proof that people could change, grow, and become better versions of themselves when given the right guidance and opportunities. Maya looked around the empty gym one more time before turning off the lights. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and new students to help. But tonight, she was content knowing that she had found her purpose and was using her gifts to make the world a little bit better, one person at a time.